I had to make my first or next $100,000 with nothing but a camera this year, this is exactly what I would do. One of the worst financial moments of my life was what I like to call the nightmare before Christmas. Just a couple days before Christmas break, I'm doing the math on how much money I'm gonna need to be able to make payroll. And I'm sitting there on my family's couch, home for the holidays, only to realize if I don't get another $3,000 into my bank account in the next 24 hours, none of my team is gonna receive their payroll right before Christmas. And if you're somebody watching this and you're in this spot right now, broke, scared, camera in hand, this is exactly what I would do today if I was in your shoes. The first thing I would do is start off by taking full responsibility for where I am today. We are a product of the decisions that we make over time, and whatever decisions you made leading up to today is what created the life that you are currently sitting in. And as soon as you take on that full responsibility, that full ownership, it's from that place that you'll actually be able to make an impact on your life. The videographers I know that are struggling right now have their priorities completely upside down. They're prioritizing things like buying the next camera, the next lens, the next gimbal, the next tripod. They're reinvesting so much of their money into things that just make small incremental improvements to their process and to their finished product. I love cameras as much as the next guy, but one thing that I did completely different at this phase of growth is I was real about the fact of what I could afford and how much of an impact that next piece of camera equipment was going to get me. So one of the things that I see people making a mistake in is they're just spending way too much time, money, and effort thinking about and buying equipment. The second thing that I see videographers make the mistake of is not focusing on the right things, because as an entrepreneur, your time is the most valuable asset that you have. And in the beginning, when you're not making any money, it is the only asset that you have. And what most people do is they'll basically, if they've already left their job, they'll do what I call playing business. So they'll get started, they'll get a company email, they'll get a website, they'll get Instagram, and they'll start to basically over obsess on how does my website look? How does my logo look? What about the About Me section on my website? And what about my portfolio? Or what about my reel? When the truth is that none of those things actually drive sales unless there's traffic going to those places. So people spend so much time just over optimizing something that the world is not going to see. And you can look at this by just getting a Google Analytics plug into your website. You can see how many people are going there. And what I see is people are spending the majority of their time on the minor things. They're majoring in the minors. I had a mentor who scaled his company up to $100 million per year. And this is what he told me that absolutely changed my life. He said, Landon, one thing that you have to remember is that you're not in the video business. You run a sales organization that happens to sell video. And I know that if you're an artist watching this right now, you're cringing, you're gritting your teeth, you hate the sound of the idea of sales. But I'm going to reposition that for you a little bit later at the end of this video, so just hang tight with me. When I heard that, I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm here to make art, I'm here to make content, I'm here to help people make better videos for their websites and whatnot. But he helped me understand, he's like, nothing moves forward without a transaction. If there is no transaction, there is no sale, then nothing can be created. Otherwise, you're just doing free work kind of out into the ether, or you're not getting commitment from your potential customers. And so everything starts with a transaction. And up until that, there can be nothing else. And so what I see most people doing is they're majoring in the minors, thinking about their website bio or thinking about their LinkedIn bio, when in reality, just going out and talking to your ideal customer is the number one thing that you can do to grow your business. Another mistake I see videographers getting trapped in the early stage of their business from 0 to 100,000 per year is what's called feast or famine, or the revenue roller coaster. And this is probably what you're feeling right now. If you're anything like me at this phase of business, you probably have some months that are pretty good, where you're making $5,000, $10,000, maybe $15,000 a month, but then boom, you fall right back off, right? Feast or famine or revenue roller coaster, whatever you want to call it, it takes a toll not only financially, but also mentally. You've got this, these days where you make all this money all at once because you get paid for a project, and then all of a sudden, like, you go a couple weeks and it's just crickets and nothing's coming in. And then on top of that, you've got, the fear and uncertainty starts to creep in. So because you haven't gotten work in the last couple of weeks, you start to ask yourself, can I really be charging that much? Are my prices too high? Should I do that deal for cheap so that I can get them to say yes, so I at least can make some money to pay my bills? If you're having any of these thoughts, I've been there, and I'm going to show you exactly how you can get out of it. I want to take you all the way back to 2018 when everything changed for me. This is when I went from just selling videos as someone who just, makes social media content, selling videos for the sake of selling videos, to being someone who sold an outcome. And the truth is as soon as I figured this out, it revolutionized my business and then every business that I've made since then forever. Most people sell the features instead of selling the benefits. Most people sell the fact that they have 4K footage, that it's all going to be in high resolution, and that you're going to have lots of sound effects, and you're going to use a red camera in order to film this content. Or, maybe I'm going to use an FX30 or an FX3 or a A7S II, whatever it is. People obsess over the features of what's being made, the lower thirds, right? All the little seemingly significant things from your perspective, but the client doesn't care. Because they're not interested in what gear you're using to get the outcome. All they care about is the outcome on the other side. So instead of focusing on selling, the features, which is all the things that you're going to do to create the video, focus on what is the video actually going to do for them. And as soon as I made this mental shift from stopping selling videos and start selling outcomes, I'm telling you, everything changed for me. I went from selling projects, hoping I could make $1,000, $2,000 for video deal, to literally selling projects for over $70,000 and retainers for over 6 figures. I'm talking $8,000 up to $13,000 per month retainers, because we stopped selling content and we stopped selling deliverables and we stopped selling videos and we started selling results. If I had to start from zero, I'm talking I lost everything except my camera. This is everything that I would do to go from zero to over $100,000 per year. Step one, I would do what I like to call the proof power up. I would go find local service companies. I'd find the best local service companies in my market. I'm talking the top dog in every industry: landscapers, plumbing companies, HVAC companies, siding, restoration businesses, anything that you could find that's a local service company, someone that's doing at least $1 million, preferably way more than that. And I would go find them and offer them a free video. Now, everyone's freaking out in the comments, I can already tell already, because you're like, oh, do you not value yourself? Why would you do something for free? Hold on for just like 1 second. Because the truth is at the beginning, if you have nothing but a camera, the only value that you can bring somebody at the very beginning is your time. And if you haven't been able to sell your deliverables, meaning you haven't gone to $100,000 before, and you haven't been able to sell content, even selling content, let alone selling results, then you have to be able to prove to yourself and then also to your potential clients that you are who you say you are and you can do the things that you say you can do. And if you can't, here's the great news: it's completely free for them. So they're only out a tiny little bit of time, but if it works out, not only would they get an amazing piece of content, but then you have the opportunity to upsell that person for full price, not half price, not 1/4 price, but full price on your services. And so people always say, well, why not just do slightly discounted work? Because people get addicted to discounts. John Taffer, the guy from Bar Rescue, said that people get addicted to discounts, but they never get addicted to free. And so I take the same thought process when selling premium video services. I never want to unveil a $250 price point for my content services, or even $1,000 per month price point for my video services, when in reality, they're worth far more than that. And this gets into a concept called anchoring. If you anchor high, well, then you coming down in price is looked at as a deal to the client. If you anchor low, you will be fighting an uphill battle for the rest of your relationship with that client because they're used to paying the low number. So if you start off and it's free, they have no basis of understanding of how much this costs because it was free. And no one expects free because that would be entitlement, and that's not good. So nobody expects free, but what they do expect is that there's going to be a price to what you do. So if you tell them your price and your price is very, very low, well, then you've now anchored yourself to that price. And now every time that you go back to the client, you literally have to ask for price increases just to get paid what you're worth. So for that reason, that's why I love starting off with just doing a little bit of free content for the top dogs in each of the industries, the local service industries, because then if you get their permission, not only to do, you get a testimonial for them, you get their permission to put that content on your website and social media. And number three, you get an opportunity to speak with the owner so that you could actually have a conversation about what it could look like to create content on an ongoing basis, selling retainers. If you can do all three of those things for the price of doing a half-day video shoot and a half-day edit, you can't tell me that that's not worth it. You can't tell me that that wouldn't change your life as an entrepreneur. So that's what I would do from step one. And then I would share the content on my social media, talk about the journey of building a video business, talk about the journey of building this business. And hey guys, I'm out with XYZ company today. Hey, we're out with this pressure washing business and we're going to go with them, document the process and show people that you're doing the thing that you say that you do. And eventually people are going to catch on and they're just going to hire you. So where the heck do you find these people? How do you go from literally having no money and just a camera to actually having clients pay you over $10,000 a month? Here's where we start. Number one, you're going to go to what's called the Google Local Service Pro List. And I'll actually have it on the screen so you guys can see it, and type that into a browser. And then what you're going to do is you're going to search for local service companies doing over $1 million who have the psychographic understanding and desire to create content. Now, you're not going to find that inside of a Google search, but what you will find is you'll find who the top dogs are, meaning the people that have been in the business the longest, who have all of the 5-star reviews, because those are the two proxies I look for, by the way. Do they have great reviews and how long have they been in business? Two things you can find in the Google Pro list. And then from that point, you can speak with them either over the phone or dropping it in person and saying, hey, would you like some free content? We're doing this thing. We're gonna be in the neighborhood around this time. We'd love to shoot you some free content. We're busy next week, but this week would be great. Then from there, you can take that content, promote it on social media, give them a free video, leverage it for a meeting with the owner, and you're set up so well because you already have everything that you need. So here's my 3 filters that I look for when I'm looking for a great potential partner in our video agency. Number 1, I'm looking for a local service company, meaning I'm personally not that big into e-commerce. I know that there are some people that are, and I think it's a totally viable market. I'm just saying the stuff that's the easiest and the fastest to close, e-commerce is not that at all. So I start off with local service companies, people that are literally in my neighborhood, and I can find them, I can walk in, talk to the owner, and I can get a deal in a very short period of time. Number 1, local service company. Number 2, ideally, they're doing over $1 million in revenue. And so you say, Landon, why do they have to be doing $1 million in revenue? So they don't have to, but I'm going to tell you what happens if they are hitting at that point. 1, if somebody is at $1 million in revenue, there's a really good chance they're trying to get out of the field, or they've already gotten out of the field and they've got technicians in place. So now they have to make more money so that the business is profiting enough money. The second reason is because when you're making $1 million in revenue, 5 to 7% of that, which is the industry standard for marketing budgets, is $50,000 to $70,000. Hey, that sounds like an amazing budget that you could invest into video content. The third thing I look for is psychographic. So, and psychographic is kind of broken down into 3 different parts. Number 1, do they have the desire to create content? Do they believe in organic content? Do they have the knowledge of understanding that social media is an important thing? Is this something that they see themselves doing? And is this something that they actually want to invest in? Because another massive mistake, this is just some free game on the side, another massive mistake that I see videographers making is they try to sell the unsellable. They try to take a client with $1,000 budget and try and get them to invest $50,000. They try and take somebody who doesn't even believe in social media or growing on social or paid ads or any of that stuff, and they've been relying on billboards for 2 decades, and they try and convert that person. That is a massive waste of time because there's companies out there that know this stuff is important, and all you have to do is find them. If you followed those steps correctly, you should have some amazing content both on your Instagram profile, and you've created some awesome content for your potential clients, which should give you leverage to be able to book a call with the owner. So here's exactly what I would do next. I would book what's called a discovery call with the founder so that I could sit down and ask them more questions about their business and see how and if video might be a good fit for them. And when you get in this discovery call, the first thing you're going to do is called frame the call. So start off by saying, hey, it's been really great to get to know your team. It's awesome. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. It's been a lot of fun putting together. What I'd love to do today is have a discussion about what you guys are looking to do in the next 6 to 12 months and where video might fit into that process. That was a really simple frame that you can then use to move into the second part of the call, which is to figure out what their goals are. Here, you're going to ask them about their goals, where they want to go revenue-wise, where do they want to go team-wise, what's their big vision, where does the founder want to take the company? And then from there, we want to figure out and fully understand how they make money. And I'm not talking about, oh, well, they sell roofs, so therefore they make money with roofs, but go deeper. So specifically break it down. How do you guys make your money in which seasons? And what's the split between roof repairs and complete roof replacements? And do you do commercial roofs or do you primarily focus on residential? And I would come in with a lot of this research done so I could ask better questions, which is a huge key into getting somebody to trust you. If you come in completely blind and unprepared, well, then you're not going to earn their trust to continue working with them as a marketer or as a video production company. All you're going to do is embarrass yourself and then ask silly questions, and the owner is going to feel like you wasted their time. So don't do that. And you might be thinking, Landon, what the heck am I going to sell these people? Even if I do get the conversation with the owner, what am I going to sell them? And this is where most videographers completely get it wrong. They start off by coming to the owner with, hey, we could do this package, or we could do this package, or we could do this brand video. When in reality, you've never sat down with the owner and asked them what they want. Ask them about their vision for the companies. Ask them what they're currently doing, or maybe what they've done in the past. This is where everybody gets it twisted. So I'm going to break down a really simple flow that you can use on your next discovery call with one of these founders, whether it's your first time or whether it's just the next time. So once you book a quick meeting with the founder, you start off by doing something really simple called framing the call. So it sounds like this. Hey, Dave, it's been amazing working with your team out in the landscaping crews. You've got some incredible work. It's been a lot of fun to really expose this stuff and show the world what you guys have been up to. I'd love to sit down and kind of talk with you today about where you guys see video fitting in your future and kind of where you guys are going, your goals, and see if it might make sense for us to work together on a more ongoing basis. Does that sound good to you? And then you wait for them to reply, and boom, you get right into their goals. Okay, cool. So tell me about where exactly do you guys want to take this business in the next 6 to 12 months? That's going to frame their mind for what they want to accomplish for the rest of the year. Next, we want to understand what is the primary way that they make money. Now, I'm not thinking, oh, well, they do landscaping services or they do HVAC services. Like, you got to get deeper than that so that they understand that you're an expert at this. And if you're not an expert, you need to do research and be prepared. And so a good example would be like with roofing. Going back to that example, do they do roof replacements? Do they do roof repair? Do they do commercial or residential or both? And knowing the difference between those things is immediately going to make the founder feel more comfortable with you because you're speaking their language. So do a little bit of research, use ChatGPT or Claude, and put together some great questions about the unit economics or the offers that the business actually sells. So that way you can come in informed as opposed to just thinking, hey, do you want some more videos? Like no one's going to buy that. But what they will buy is a solution to their problems. And if video fits inside of that solution after you talk with them, then you're in an amazing spot. And once you get to this point in the conversation, I want you to remember this simple 4-letter acronym. And it's budget. So find out what is their budget for something like this. Authority. Is the person that you're speaking with truly the right decision maker? And where do you need to go from here to speak with the right person? Need. Do they actually need this? Is this something that they believe in? Is this something that they want? Is this something that they need? And then, of course, finally, the timeline. Do they have any sort of reason why they wouldn't want to move forward on something like this now? All of these are questions that you can shake out a little bit before discovery. And if you don't get those answers, then you can ask them to the right person during discovery, therefore allowing you to actually present a solution to this client that they're excited to buy, they have the budget for, and they really want to see move forward. This is what took us from getting ghosted on proposals that, we got all excited to create to literally closing deals and selling over $3.5 million worth of video projects and retainers. Sometimes when your goal seems really big, it's easier to just break it down into incremental sizes. So instead of thinking about going from $0 to $100,000 overnight, let's actually break that down in the course of a year so that we can see what's possible. So if we take 100,000 divided by 12 months in the year, we're left with roughly $8,300 per month. And if we needed to make $8,300 per month, let's break down how we can actually do that. So one of my favorite ways to do that, and my favorite structure, is just selling 3 retainers for $3,000 each, which leaves you with a little bit left over. You also could do 4 retainers for $2,100, right? And I'm not doing exact math for you guys here. We can put the math on the screen, but you get the idea. It's not about having 1 retainer at $10,000 or 1 retainer at $8,300, although you could do that, and that would be amazing. You could just do a lot of things for one person. But here's what I'll tell you. That puts you in a very vulnerable position, because if that one $8,300 retainer leaves, you have a huge thing called concentration risk, meaning if that one client fires you, you are literally back to 0 within a couple of weeks. And I would never want that to happen to you. So the best way to do this is to have a split where you've got half of your stuff coming in, over half of your stuff coming in from retainers. And then on top of that, you're still selling projects. So a healthy split could be like a 75-25, 75% of your retainers, and we'll use 10K a month just for easy math, but $7,500 per month coming in from your retainer clients, and then another $2,500 per month coming in from projects. And however you split this, the number one way to stabilize and scale your company is by selling retainers, which is ongoing video services, usually for some sort of an outcome as opposed to just some content deliverables. So how do you scale this past $100,000 per year without burning out? And the first thing that I would do, the first person that I would bring on into my life would be a part-time editor. This absolutely changed my life. Having somebody that I could hand the footage to from our shoot that day and say, thank you so much. Edit this all the way up until you can't edit it anymore. Get it all the way up until where you believe it's perfect. And then you can come in on the backside. And then as opposed to editing the full 80% that got the piece of content up until the point where it is today, you're just doing the finishing touches on the final 20%. And because we both know that the majority of the work, the grunt work, the grind happens in that first 80% where you're syncing up your audio to your visuals. You're doing things like identifying your selects, or you're trying to craft the story arc. All of those things take significant time. And truth be told, a junior editor, an assistant, can easily do that. And now there's even software that's helping people do that right now as we speak in 2026. So the first person that I would bring on in order to free up your time so that you can continue to scale this company is a part-time editor. That will buy back a significant amount of your time on post-production and free you up to continue shooting, taking care of clients, and most importantly, selling. Now, there's one thing that you can do immediately after you watch this video, the second it gets done, that can get you on the fast track to making your first or your next $100,000. But before we get into that, I want to tell you about one of my most successful clients, John. John went from 0 retainers to 3 retainers for an average of $3,500 per month in a matter of weeks. That's over $10,000 per month in retainers in just a few short weeks. Now, this is no guarantee that this is going to happen to you, because we can't guarantee that you're going to put in the work, right? You're watching a YouTube video. But what I wanted to share with you is what he actually did to create this reality for him and his family. John started off by addressing his sales process, the questions that he asked during discovery, the offers that he was selling, and how he was handling discovery and sales as a whole. And then from that point, he added something on that's going to absolutely blow your mind. And it was the thing that I was talking about earlier, paid advertising. John went from just selling deliverables and videos to literally selling results and getting local service companies more leads and clients with the video assets that he was making, and running the actual Facebook and Instagram ads for his clients, so that when people looked at the content that he made and the campaigns that he was running, they could point back to a specific campaign and say, wow, because of the campaign that John was running, look at all of the leads that were coming in. And that's exactly what I would recommend you do immediately after you watch this video. Learning paid advertising will change your life, not only for your own business, but potentially for your clients' businesses. Because media buying used to be really complicated. You had to get the ad set right. You had to get the targeting right. There was pixels, all this stuff, and all that stuff still exists. But here's the difference. Meta has made it easier than ever for anyone to win on the platform. In fact, Mark Zuckerberg literally said that his goal is to remove the need for media buying altogether, where you can make creative and the distribution all in one place. So you know that this is actually getting easier over time. All you have to do is learn the skill of paid advertising. And that is the ultimate hack into helping people get more leads and clients, not just making them a couple more videos, but helping them get more leads and clients that can change their financial future and go from being a vendor to an actual growth partner. That is exactly what I would do after I watched this video today, because it will completely change your life. Now, if this sounds cool, but you don't necessarily want to do it alone and you want somebody who's actually been there and done that, just click the link below and book a call with our team. We'd love to help you out.